Alright, welcome everybody. My name is Terminus, and today we're gonna check out Techhnolyze episode 8. I do hope you're excited. I am. It's been not too long since I watched episode 6 and 7 and finally gotten to the realization that now we're kinda slowly getting what we want, right? Getting some kind of feeling for this world. Even if it's just very, very faintly an idea of what's going on and what might be going on. With all of the factions going back and forth and whatnot, and with our main characters, it's really hard to get to the ground. We still don't know what Yoshi really wants, right? Where he really comes from, right? I have more of an idea, but and we know something big's about to happen. I mean, already happened partially. This is gonna get exciting. Let's get our head into it. I still don't know how the doctor scientist lady is called. I'm sure her name was kind of dropped at some point in time. Do let me know in the comments if you want to let me know. If not, I'm probably going to look it up at some point in the next couple of episodes, if I don't hear it. Alright, Techhnolyze episode 8 starts in a 3, a 2, a 1. Bam! And obviously, I can't show the intro because it, like it has an audio claim, so. Alright. I'm not spot on, by the way. And we're on the final frame of the OP, and going into the first frame of the episode. Now. And it is a flame, a Bunsen burner or something, yeah. Is this Yoshi? Do we know more about, get to know more about Yoshi? Crucible. Ooh. Oh yeah, and the city is burning, right? Like the Salvation Union. We have a full-scale rescue operation going on, well, like with firemen. And this is like the boss of the Salvation Union. And this is absolute chaos, I guess. Shinji's people celebrating. I guess for them they are terrorists, right? Yeah, they're kind of the youth gang, right? Like, youth spirit. I love that lighting. It's very interesting how he and outsiders fishing for information. That was the deal, right? They want to gain power. It's not stopping him, though. That is an insane construct here. Like out of an old motorcycle or something. What are we looking through? Glasses? With like bottles and whatnot? And our doctor through the fish. And the experimental rats, right? I don't think Ran is Ooh. She answers.
この後に及んで立つなとはどういうことだ。お前さんのやり方はまどろっこしくてかなわんよ。根拠のない話振りかざされて。
He doesn't want to dance to the tune of somebody else.
失礼します。
Dude having like
矢崎たちが戻ってきていますが。
すぐに行く。
はい。
like he doesn't like that, right? That he's dancing to the tune of somebody else.
どうする気だ。表彰状でもやるつもりか。新世旧歳。我ら旧民連合の理想に誤たりしことありやいなや。いな。しかるに邪智暴虐の輩の関係により我らが砦は焼け落ちた。今我らがなすべきことは多くない。しかり我らが
Retaliation.
すべきもの。人の上に立つことを恥じず己の幸いのために生きることを恥じる者。
Their own selfish hedonism. The cause of every calamity, right? Dogmatic thinking, you're externalizing the blame. Although, in this case, it's partially true. I love the angle. No. Psych. What are you thinking, illustrious leader? Are you gonna let your men run wild? But because you know there's some kind of plot. Holy shit, Doctor, what are you up to? An interesting shot will look him. Alright. What is he gonna do? Is he gonna say anything? There was some flash. Oh yeah, that was him, okay. Holy shit. You have no ear. Anything. Ichise. She knows the name. It's interesting that he listens to her, in a way. Right, I'm sorry. What just happened? Doc, what are you scheming? I don't know what you're scheming. You were looking at dead rats in like an experiment, I guess. Time passing. I do like the layering of that shot. Alright. Our friends have celebrated and are sleeping, I guess. They're all passed out. And we're reflecting some kind of, I guess, graffiti or neon sign. And this is our boy sitting in front of like that weird motorcycle thing. And the bomb is gonna go off, right? Like the one that Richard brought in. Yeah, I thought so, but why? Right? That's the question. Holy shit. Yeah, they're dying. Who's gonna take the blame for that one? Just devastation. Shinji survived. Like that was a declaration of war by Yoshi, but they don't know that. They don't know that. And all of the factions are fighting each other now. And we repeat the shot from one of the first episodes. I do love the soundscape, right? Or like the rattling metal of old cars, old buses. Our Salvation Union dude. Wonder if this is going to be total chaos or if there are new alliances that will be built. A ruined world, right? All of the cables hanging down. The entire place busted up. Wonder how many died. That's still HC. It's so hard to tell what's going on inside of his head, because he's talking so little. It's even hard to interpret anything into his actions because of his empty gaze and the way he just trots along. It's almost like he's aimless. All of these Dutch angles. He's like that unease in which the entire city is brimming, right? And the contrast from light to dark. This entire show feels like an artistic piece that is very hard to take apart. I do love the narrow view that we're seeing here. It's in declaration too, though. He's trying to keep the peace. Also, I don't know what she was doing. It was kind of... I'll look at that later, but I don't know if I can make sense of it.
祭りを始める度胸がないってのには困ったもんだ。町の石とやらにかこつけて、要は昇進だということだ。
That's what you're saying.
気の毒な人ですよ。あんな連中の尻拭いをたった一人で愚痴一つ言わずにやっちまうってんですからね。
怖くら。
I mean, he ain't wrong.
無駄なことを。
なぜだ。
これはもはや貴様と俺で済む問題ではない。連合とオルガノの問題なのだ。
Alright, it's the grander organizations that are fighting now. There's too much bad blood right now. And we're all meeting up. So what are you gonna do, Onishi? This is tense. Interestingly enough, Onishi is the only one of his faction here. Even Yoshi is watching and Ichise is also close. Still don't know what the doctor is doing, right? I guess taking the rats apart, kinda.
しかとこいってんじゃねえぞこの野郎。
何のことだ。
そいつはこっちが聞きたいぜ。
引け。あ？ここはお前たちの出る幕じゃない。引け。
そうはいくか。帰る場所がないんだよ。
シンジ、何もたついてんだよ。さっさとやっちまおうぜ。
聞け。何のためになる。誰が得をする。頭を冷やせ。
Yeah.
この話はどこかおかしい。
Don't be angry. Think about this.
祭りを望んでいない。俺たちは踊らされているだけだ。
He's trying to appeal to them, but is he gonna be like, is he gonna be successful?
どこかで誰かがほくそ笑んでいるだけだぞ。
Yoshi like what's happening here. Ooh, I love that. That shot. He's trying to hold his power, right? Oh, was that part of her vision? Or is that just the situation getting more tense? I wonder what it is doing and why he's doing it.
上等だ。無駄死には下の者に任せておいたらどうだ。
あいにくそのつもりはない。
Everybody's watching him now, right? He's the one who's out of place. I think this is the first time he's smiling. Yeah, that's it. One shot was enough. Damn. All hell is gonna break loose here. Is this the will of the city too, Onishi? I do wonder what point of view we're looking from, right? Because we see like a lens angle panning over the buildings. Or if this is just... I guess it could be just the first time we ever see him have joy. Not maybe in the real sense, but like some kind of sick pleasure from that. Ooh, that was a cool shot. You have that like sound in the background of like the technology. Are these really your actions, boy? Or who is controlling you? Or what's controlling you? Like, what has triggered that in you? Who set you on this path? I wonder why he's not attacking Onishi, if there's a reason for that. He's not crazy, at least. Shinji. I have no idea what the fuck happened just now. We're back to square one. It's so hard for me to to take this apart, right? To read intentions here. Ooh. Hmm. We're just fizzling out into white noise. This is really hard. I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about this. All right. Let's talk about this mess, shall we? I'm a little bit afraid. Like for Techhnolyze, I'm afraid more than anything that I cannot live up to the expectations of the people who expect me to say something meaningful about something that isn't making a lot of sense to me. But I mean, individual actions exist in such isolation, right? In such like in such stark contrast that it oftentimes actions of characters don't make sense to me. I mean, make sense in a way, right? Like Onishi makes sense to me. Shinji makes sense to me to a degree, right? As far as I can understand him, right? That the youth rebel split group party was kind of part of the Organo, right? Listening to them, but also not, wants to do their own thing, wants to establish their own dominance over the city, right? Has their own schemes going on. Was just waiting for the moment to strike and take control. Because they have a different philosophy altogether, right? But so far they have been adhering to the power of the strongest, of the one who's holding control, right? Of the one who has the city into its grasp. And that is Onishi in this case. And we do have like the Salvation Union who's against that, almost like I would say like you get communist vibes, right? It's like a union of people, mostly probably workers, who are putting themselves against everything that has to do with Techhnolyze technology. It's probably because of like where does it come from, like the mysterious origins of how it works, right? Because we know components of how it works, but specifically like the black magic phase component of the development, we don't know anything at all. Aside from that, we need raffia in order for us to not reject those artificial organs that we have that we can control at that point in time. But like Ran is very hard to read, right? Because he's not saying a lot, but even she is not easier to, right? Yoshi is very hard to read because we don't know where he stands. He's an outsider, yes, we know that. But what is his purpose in coming here, right? Sow chaos, destroy everybody, place judgment on people. We don't quite know that. And he barely talks. He's being jerked around everywhere. He's being attacked. He's being beaten down, and he stands up again and he rages against the machine, basically. But we don't know what's going on inside of his head. If there's even like, is he brain damaged? Like, because we don't know that, right? Like, does he have a mental disability? That is a real thing that could be a possibility, right? That he's just like, he has lower intelligence, or he has like some neurological damage, right? Or he has like some kind of mental illness that we are not prone to, that we do not know, right? I mean, sure, probably he has depression and whatnot if he was healthy before, but who knows, right? We just know these flashes from his past where it's like his like maybe his father or a father figure or whatever, like somebody who was close to his mother, had hanged themselves, right, very publicly, and we do know the mother who died, right, in a hospital bed, and he has that attachment to her, and he has that little piece of her, right, and they were very poor growing up. We know that from like, right, that we know that these things are given to people who can't bury their dead because they're too poor for that, right? And he's like a basically very much beaten by life, but the question is, what does he want, right? What's inside of his head? We can't look inside, and what little we see of his emotions is all raw aggression most of the time, right? Raw aggression or total exhaustion. We have only seen him in those two states, or maybe like one in between state where he's just fleeing, right? In that case, that's fear, right? It's like survival instinct. But he's like pure survival instinct. The question is, what happened here, right? Why did he go down the stairs and suddenly start attacking Shinji, right? And then trigger this whole thing. Obviously, why did that whole mass slaughter where everybody's attacking everybody get triggered? Obviously, because he stepped in, right? Put everybody's attention on that, and then one person thought, oh yeah, I can, right, either shoot Ichise or shoot somebody behind, use that moment of distraction to actually get a hit on somebody who I want to take out because he's from another faction. And then the first shot got taken and bam, right? It's like a pulverfass. I don't know if that's an English word, right? It's like an explosive barrel, right? That's pulverfass. It's an explosive barrel, and you're just like the spark that's gonna make it explode. But the question is, what was inside of his mind, or what emotions did he feel when he attacked Shinji? Because the evening before, he and Shinji have been talking, right? I mean, not talking, he hasn't been talking, but Shinji has been talking to him, and he did seem relatively like amicable towards him, right? He didn't seem like aggressive towards him or have any hate or whatever, right? At the very least. Ran seems to have a calming effect on him to a degree, but she didn't stop him. So was what was happening here something she saw and predicted, and for whatever reason she wanted it to happen? We don't know that. Crucible. I don't even know what a crucible is. Let me just Let me just research that for a second. What does crucible... What does crucible mean? A situation of severe trial or in which different elements interact, leading to the creation of something new. Right. Crucible. Makes sense, right? Crucible. Right, we do have a pivotal moment in the history of whatever this place is, Lucas, right? Pivotal moment in the history. Be that due to like, everything's gonna fall into chaos, or a new organization's gonna take power, or at the very least a lot of people die of different factions. Like a big tragedy, a big spectacle, and that's Crucible. Which makes sense, right? And we already have the fires of that burning right here, literally. Right, the fires are burning literally and figuratively, in the sense of like the hearts of those people are burning. Like this was their home, it got destroyed, and there's emotion now, right? The desire for revenge, for retribution, for righting wrongs that were done to oneself. And it's a beautiful atmosphere of all the sparks, and you see the red, and it's like, but the leader is very much a strategist, much like Onishi, right? And we do have that. Right, we do have that Onishi and him are kind of like in an understanding with one another, but they can't stop the hearts of their men, which are opposed to one another in terms of like the factions they are. There was like an unstable peace between the two of them, with like some handshake deals and whatnot, and a mutual understanding that little like assassinations and whatnot would be happening, of course, because this is a fight, right? A fight of ideologies, a fight of like for power, but at the same time, there was a relative stability, and he was part of that stability. And like here, even here, in the face of like this atrocity that was done to his faction, all we see of him is like a very straight-faced, non-emotional response. He's not smiling, he's not like angry, he's not sad, he's just looking at it plain like poker face. And it doesn't help that this special like pair of glasses, or like this visor or whatever he has, is very much hiding his emotions in this situation. And then we go over to the people celebrating that there's going to be a new order, maybe, right? That there's like this is a beautiful shot looking out the window, right? The fire is burning in the back. There's like, it's the night sky and we're looking out the window. It feels like the dawn of a new age. It feels like romantic, and it feels wistful. It feels free for Shinji and his people, right? Especially with this mood that we have just been setting. And we do have like Yoshi in the half-light scheming his schemes, just poking the bear and getting information out of people. And then he's going his way. Where are you going? Where I will want to go. And there's the bomb, right? Ran knows it's gonna happen, I guess. She's leaving the flower, whatever that means for her. Right, she's leaving the flower and she's getting out of here with Ichise, taking him with her. And it was her that initiated, right? She was like, shoulder touch, all right, let's go. And he kind of listens to her to some degree. Very cool shots, like, right, not seeing the eye with the cigarette, right, like face laid back, kind of chin forward, kind of very defensive and like standoffish. But a lot of them are looking like that, right? And we do have the dogmatic Salvation Union being, like, especially with like the Dutch angles and everything, right? Do like a very, very tilted angle, right? Through the grates of whatever building that is here. It could also be just a sewer part, right? And the fire is burning, almost like invoking these feelings of like dungeon and like cult-like behavior, right? And we do show the symbol overshadow with like all of these members and our leader. I still don't know what she is doing. I really don't, right? There's these rats which are dead now, which were in the cage before. And they're supposedly like, I don't know. Still the gesture of like, we keep sexualizing her in a way, right? But putting power into her with the angles we show in like the camera and whatnot, and the way she's looking down upon the camera or us as a proxy. And then we, very interestingly, we interrupt this scene with like the blue, weird, like creepy light and her like nostrils showing, and like nostrils showing is often like a sign of contempt, because when we show contempt, like plain-faced, our nostrils are getting very big often, or disgust, right? And this is what she's showing. I don't think she's disgusted, but I think she's looking down upon, right? That she's like feeling like she is in power here, and I don't know why she's doing it, and I don't know what she's planning, but you know, right? She's a schemer. That's all I can glean from that. And then we're interrupting this scene by somebody setting a foot into the scene, right? He's putting the foot into the previous scene and just blotting it out, right? And now he is in charge. And that is Yoshi, smiling, meeting upon Ichise. And he doesn't know Ichise, he's just like talking to Ran. Is this your companion practicing to walk? I see, that's great. And he's like his usual very contemptful as well, right? Very scheming self. And I do feel like these are the kinds of facial expressions you are showing when you do think that nobody really is watching you, or that nobody really is paying attention to what facial expressions you're showing, because this is glee, this is like, right, arrogance in a way, right? Looking down on people. He's very much a person who is very masking, right? He's very much just playing the role of somebody, right? Being friendly towards people, trying to get stuff out of them. He's like a snake. And it's not easy, because in the beginning I thought he was a really nice guy, right? It came across that way, but it's just how good he is according to our narrative, right? Because obviously our artists are showing this in a certain way, and we're supposed to believe that, and it worked, right? But this flash, I was like, his eyes are like, I guess he meets upon the gaze and this is triggering him. So he's like, immediately. It's very interesting. It's almost like this is Yoshi's point of view. And he's looking very different in Yoshi's point of view. Like desperate, almost, right? Desperate, fearful. What did I do to offend you? All of that anger in there, all of that like raw emotion. You could think about how you want to use it. Whoosh! I love that, like how the camera changes in a way, and then we nearly miss Yoshi, right? And it's like we're swinging with the fist, But he's still in control. The way he smiles, right? The way he reacts, the way he, like his reaction time. There's a way to use that power of use more effectively. Was he the one who set him up to this? Well, you have no ear for me. You have no ear for anybody. Ichse, is it? I remember that. But yeah, he's saying, like, he's not putting anything inside of Ichse here, right? It feels like it, at least. Like, I don't know if that's the case, but if anybody told Ichse to do something, it was Ran. But I don't know if she did, right? If that is part of her plan, or if it's just like something she saw in a vision, that's why she didn't like try to stop Ichse. She was like, yeah, this is gonna happen. And I'm just gonna let it happen, because this is how she was, right, for most of our series so far. She was always like, I'm gonna let it happen. That's that. What is this scene? Like, we're looking at like a weird meat sack or whatever, right? Like maybe a body, like a corpse or something. And she's opening up a door like a prisoner. Maybe like those are hostages from the Salvation Union or from somebody else, right? Maybe it's people who are responsible for certain things, and then we're like gonna punish them. I don't know about this. I guess we're switching limbs between rats for whatever fucking reason. And she's like feeling herself with that. I don't know, man. Well, just give me hints of what she's doing, right? We're switching limbs of rats so we can switch limbs around, right? One of them gets one, the other gets the other. Don't know what sense that makes yet, but I'm sure it's going to be very important later on. You have the clock ticking, and then, right, and the sign for like the place that Shinji and the others are staying. Really cool. And it's like good morning, and everything is blowing apart. I do love some of the angles we see here, like, right, like very like not tilted in that way, but we do have a lot of debris going on back and forth and everything, right? And then we go back to this shot that we've seen in, I think, the first or second episode of Techhnolyze, where we do have like that weird gutter shot from like the in-between back alleys or whatever, and the sewer systems. Like, we're showing the gritty side of the city, the underbelly, basically. And we have all of these factions meeting, the Salvation Union, almost like a prison bus, right? Going to, right, driving towards that place, right? Old military buses and whatnot. We do have them kind of getting out of the ashes. It's very interesting how everything is dark with the debris and whatnot, and outside is like that bright, blinding light almost. And they're getting ready to go with the motorcycle as well. You have all of these little symbols. I don't know if we can make sense of them. Either way, they're still like, he's still adjusting and he's looking at his hand. So I don't know, what is he contemplating? Did Ran say something to him? He's just sitting there, right? And he's standing up and he's just going a certain way. Who is controlling him? Is there somebody controlling him, or is it just him just going along, aimlessly wandering, and then he meets upon a scene, upon somebody whose look he doesn't like, and then he just got a punch, right? Because this is so hard to read. Right? Because there's nothing coming from him. I can't really dig into him when I don't know what's going on inside of him, and we don't see enough of his inner world to actually really peek that, right? Dutch angle. A lot of like busy city, right? Very, very messy everything, right? A lot of structures, a lot of like levels, a lot of layers. Again, Dutch angle, lots of shadows, shadow and light play. Right, another Dutch angle. This is a straight one after a couple of Dutch ones, which is very interesting, like in terms of like us, right? But the stairs are slightly crooked, so there's still this feeling that something is amiss. And she's just following him, looking along. You have that, I like that shot, right? From underneath the car. And like an accident happening, or almost happening. And then we like zoom down from the staircase, we just step down. And we do have that final confrontation. Again, a Dutch angle. And Onishi wants to keep the power. There's a couple, I think 1 or 2 shots that I want to still see, but we don't see, like, not a lot, right? Very interesting how he is right next to the statue, almost like he is another statue. He's like making them stand in the hallway, like Onishi is some kind of teacher who is then disciplining the students, right? It was like, come on, boys, right? This is my city. You stand in the hallway, right? You've done something wrong, right? Like the teacher. And they're kind of like he's a coward, but he's cleaning up your fucking mess. I kind of can understand him, right? He's doing it alone. He's doing it without any backup. He's trying to get ahead of this, right? Because you all are fucking children who want to fight right away. And he's like, this is not a matter between you and me. It's a matter between the Union and the Organo. He's like, these gestures don't help anyone. I don't know who this is or what this is, right? With like maybe they stolen something or whatever. I don't know. Do let me know if I missed something. Maybe this is some connection I need to make. If that's the case, do let me know. If not, just be quiet about it and let me find out myself. Either way, I love how we're zooming past that with the focus pull. And we're like just seeing something moving very quickly across the ground, and we see a collision. And this is when Shinji's coming in with his motorcycle, and we're all here now, right? The gang's all pulling up, right? The Salvation Union. The only one who is alone is Onishi with his section, right? No Organo is there. And Yoshi's just being there. He's like observing. He's like, fucking hell yeah. Again, she's removing the limbs, I guess. Or maybe she has attached Techhnolyzed limbs. I don't know what she's doing. What the hell she's cooking. He's trying to use his authority. I do really love this shot, right? Because it's such a style change. We do have a very closed-in shot, right? There's very busy. There's like buildings. There's like a very tiny part of the sky. It's very boxed in, right? Very narrow. And there's his statue on the one hand, and Onishi on the other hand, and the gang's in the background. And as he moves past here, we do have him turning around to Onishi, and suddenly it opens up to an entire like very open space and very bright and lit up for a second. So it feels like he's going over and the situation opens up. And we do have him looking back and forth, being like, how do I keep controlling this? He's like reminding them, who is profiting from this? Not you, not me, not this guy, right? Shinji, not you. Not you, the Salvation Union, not me or the Organo. Somebody's playing with us. And if we follow along with his whims, think about that. We're gonna play into their hands. And this is like what he's reminding them of, and what I've been saying from like while this was going on. It was like Onishi is trying to not dance to the fiddle of whoever is orchestrating this, which is Yoshi. Let's be honest, it's Yoshi, but as a proxy for somebody or some entity that we do not know as the audience, that we have no idea exists even, right? Somebody on the outside. Or maybe he's acting like, or maybe somebody on the outside, like whatever faction he belongs or whatever country or whatever, it told him, you go there and you decide on your own what to do, right? And then he's like, hell yeah, chaos. But I don't know, there's a plan behind that, and we don't see that yet, right? Tilted angle again. Gone through this. I do love this shot in the sky. Yeah, that is what I wanted to highlight. That is a really amazing shot. He is holding for his dear life onto this power. And you see that in this shot. The entire frame is kind of rotating on him. And he's like a force that is rotating a little bit with the sky, but he's like steadfast. He's grounded in the ground, like he put stakes into the ground. That's how it feels, right? Especially with like his fists pointing downwards. It feels like he's trying to be like a metal tank that is sitting here and has his spikes down into the ground and nothing's gonna move him, right? He's making himself as big and as steadfast as possible in this situation too, right? He's preparing himself to actually, right? He's holding on to this now fragile piece or like semi-piece that is gonna break any second. And Ran's just looking. I don't know. Ran's just looking. We have these flashes. We have like broken windows, which are the cracks in the foundation, right? We're hinting at that. And then this is coming, right? And this is where I'm like, he's drawing the sword. Very, very valiant that he wants to die with honor. Like he wants to defend himself. But I find it very interesting how we are. I still don't know what that has to do with anything with the rat, right? Because the limb is bleeding, the rat is screaming. And then we do have a couple of weird symbols, which are like the information symbols coming from his Techhnolyze technology. And he's like, I guess overwhelmed in a way. And then he's seeing Shinji, and Shinji is like way more bright in his eyes, right? Especially with the red hair and whatnot. That is a lot more bright in his vision. And he's zooming in on him and he's just going for it. He's like whacking and smiling like that like almost an aggressive smile of control. I have control over this situation. Very interesting how he's just flapping around. And I think somebody actually just wanted to shoot him. And what they did was shoot just past him, because no, she didn't shoot past him. They actually grazed him and they shot somebody behind him in the head. So I guess they wanted to shoot him. And now all hell is breaking loose, right? Everything is moving in like record speed. Everything is flying apart, the blood splattering. People are running. I do wonder which point of view that is, right? That. I don't know. Yoshi, Ran, him? It doesn't feel like him. Maybe it's Ran's vision or whatever, right? People keep falling, tilted angle, right? Narrow back alley hallway, light coming from the other side, but corpses dropping in front of that, right? Horrified faces and him just reveling in the violence, seemingly, which is like, this is the only emotion he's ever shown, according to, right? But I don't get where it's coming from, aside from like pain. Sure, he's been suffering, but there's nothing that kind of puts me in the direction of understanding this individual any better, right? And what triggered that in that specific moment now, right? Because he fell and then it was like, right? And at this moment, at the very least, the only thing I can say is that he's reveling in the power he has over people as he's beating them down right now. But he's not beating down Onishi, which is very interesting. That is a crazy shot. I love that shot. That is amazing. Like, insane kind of shot. Like, that shot goes so hard. Look at this. He's like, first, yeah, I don't mean that one. This one, right? Point of view upwards, lying on the ground, Tim on top of you, and then boom, and the fist goes in and everything goes black, right? Or like the blood flows. That is an insane shot. Right, and they are kind of like, Onishi doesn't want to kill him. He sees promise in him, right? He's maybe even a prodigy kind of deal. It feels like. And him just screaming like an animal. And I'm like, what does it mean? Tilted angle again. Looking at the sky, right? Almost as he's like so disoriented, so like derealized. And the entire city is kind of like just in shambles. And we are like the last shows, like a lot of cables, very interesting, very Lane-esque as well, right? With all of the cables, communication cables and whatnot. And we zoom on this guy, and I don't know if we've seen him before. Right? We don't know if we've seen him before. Like, he looks familiar, but I can't identify him right now. It could be the guy who Yoshi talked to, but I'm not sure. Right? The informant or whatever. It's not the sage, I know that. Right? And it doesn't seem like Onishi. If it's Onishi, he's super old, but I don't know. It doesn't look like him. He doesn't have a metal arm either. There's like some weird, like, very open, lost hospital room, like abandoned hospital room-esque building. And they're looking at each other, and we're zooming out, and slowly our vision is going more sepia, right, in a sepia tone, and losing itself into white noise, and that's when we end it. This is like I don't know, this Techhnolyze feels a lot like it is a very artistic piece that is very hard to pin down. Like, it's very hard to put intent into our characters, but especially our main character, though, like, other characters I understand a little bit better, but like, it's very hard to put intent into situations, to put them into a structure, to sort them into categories, to actually organize them. And that is making it so hard. That's why the reason why I was so desperate in episode 6. I was so like, it was so hard for me in episode 6, because I was like, it's very hard to make sense of all of this. It's very like difficult to really get a grasp on everything. And episode 7 made it easier. And now episode 8 is kind of in between, right? We do have a couple of elements where I'm like, hey, that is very interesting, right? I know what's happening. But I'm still desperate and frustrated at not getting each. And I guess that's intended, right? I guess that's intended. But it is frustrating for somebody who is actually, whose job it is kind of low-key to understand people and to get to understand people and to deal with them to a degree, right? yeah, I mean, that's been Techhnolyze episode 8. I do hope you enjoyed that. It's probably going to be the last one in October. I don't even know if this is going to be in October. For YouTube, it's not, but for Patreon, it's probably going to appear in October, towards the end of October. And then I'll probably have to record a couple of new ones, so I do hope that possible that there's a week or two gap between, right? As per usual. It's just how it is sometimes. I'll be seeing you next time. I hope you enjoy these Monster and Techhnolyze episodes. I'm certainly kind of shifting between I'm enjoying them and I'm finding them interesting and whatever, and also kind of being uneasy whenever I watch them, because it's like very hard to dig into when it comes to the material itself and making sense of it and saying something meaningful afterwards. But yeah. Terminus out.